We good? We're good. First time doing this. Everything is shot. Okay. Okay. I should be on frame. Okay. Probably should have done this. I should be fine. Hello, welcome to a new series I'm doing on my YouTube called Killerlook, where I'm going to be reviewing and recapping horror movies. As you can clearly tell, we're doing the original Friday the 13th. Now, I'm only doing parts 1 through 3 at the moment. I'm going to do them 3 at a time. Because I'm going to be doing these, I think like twice a day maybe? I'm still working on that. But anyway, the original Friday the 13th, released in 1980, directed by Sean S. Cunningham, produced by Frank Mancuso Jr., with special effects done by Tom Savini and his buddy Tavos Stafarakis. The most notable actor to be in this movie is Betsy Palmer. So, let's begin. Friday the 13th begins in 1950. The movie begins in 1958 with a group of campers. The group of camp counselors. Group of camp counselors. Say it right. The group of camp counselors. 2 of them become super horny, and they will leave off when they're found by someone when they're found by the cameraman in the first person shot. I mean the killer. And they're both sequentially murdered. The first dude getting stabbed just off screen, and the guy getting stabbed off screen, and the girl getting killed in a way that makes the movie cut away. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, the first movie wasn't keen on too much gore, even though there's still some decent gore. Now, after that, we jump to 1979, where when Camp Crystal Lake tries to reopen, we're having a group of counselors. After this, we meet a girl coming into town, meeting a fan favorite character of the series, Crazy Ralph. Yeah, this place. Yeah, and as he'd say, Crystal Lake has a death curse. I wish I could check footage. Anyway, after she gets a truck driver helps her out and drops her off near Camp Crystal Lake, but is then found by a person in a green Jeep. There's a nice bit. This movie has a nice bit of music. The music in this movie is done very well, and whenever the killer is on screen, considering the killer isn't revealed till the final act, or the final girl circuit as most people call it, the music composer, what's his name? I should have done more research before starting this. But the music composer of the film made some interesting music choices to show that the killer is near, while the killer isn't on screen. After this, the girl jumps out of the Jeep, but the killer follows her, slitting her throat in a nice effect that still holds up even to this day. That still holds up even to this day. Next, we finally meet our main characters, which I'm gonna say are real fucking boring. I mean, except maybe Final Girl Alice, but still very boring. The most notable thing is that one of them is played by Kevin Bacon. Really, only a notable thing. But now I'm gonna rant about this next scene with the snake gets killed, like James did in his Friday 13th recount. This snake was not a random snake. You can clearly tell it is a real snake, but it's not a random snake. It was actually a pet, a magician snake that Tom Savini asked if he can borrow, not knowing that the pet owner, the snake's owner, the snake's owner didn't know they were going to kill it. So, yeah, it's a bit fucked up. Even for a movie of this low of a budget. Anyway, next up we get to some killing. Next up to go is sadly Kevin Bacon. After getting done in a lengthy makeout sesh. I mean sex sesh. When he gets the famous arrow through the neck. Fun fact, the air compressor or whatever the machine was broke, so Tessos Staphylakis grabbed the tube, and spat the rest of the fake blood out of it with his mouth. And Kevin Bacon visibly reacts in the movie. Too bad I can't show it, because I don't know how to edit. Now, after this, Kevin Bacon's lover, Marcy, goes to the bathroom with her pants off. She still has underwear on, and she takes an axe strike to the head, and an effect like showing you the real axe before it hits her, and having a rubber fake axe lodged in the actor's head. Made very well lodged in the actress's head. Next scene we cut back to camp owner Christie, who not much to do with him. He's just at a diner. So next scene. As you can clearly tell, this movie is very damn boring in between kills, because I'm just skipping ahead through some of it because this movie's boring as fuck. Luckily, the sequels become much more entertaining, so. But anyway. Next up we have a girl named Tracy who gets killed off screen by who gets killed off screen by Pamela. I confused it with Jason, sorry. I'm a dumbass. I really should have done research before I made this. Fuck, I'm dumb. Anyway. And we'll see her body later, but yeah. Anyway. Coming up next, again skipping a lot of boring scenes, we see camp owner Christie come back and recognizing the killer before getting stabbed in the gut just off screen. Again, very boring. Tom Savini didn't do much. I don't feel bad for Savini. He probably didn't get to do much in this movie. Sorry if I'm fidgeting with this wood. It's fidgeting tendency. Anyway, next up. Final girl Alice and her I guess lover or boyfriend is separated, and she finds him dead. With a whole bunch of arrows shot into him. I suppose that this guy was the fucking goofball who generally doesn't survive. Although, as you'll see in Friday 2, when we get to that, I think either tomorrow, when we get to that tomorrow, that will certainly be changed. But anyway, back onto this. We finally get to the final girl circuit, where we finally get one of the best parts of this movie, Betsy Palmer playing Pamela Voorhees. She seems really nice at first, but then she goes into a lengthy monologue talking about how she's doing this for her boy Jason, who drowned in '58. Because, as quote, the counselors were off handling filthy sex. That's a direct quote from the Ice Time Kills song, Thank God It's Friday. But anyway, Pamela starts beating Alice, which, fun fact, this movie did not have a stunt coordinator, so both actors were doing this themselves. I find that funny. And this fight is pretty interesting. But with some nice choreographed fight. Again, without the stunt coordinator, it just had a fight choreographer, and even then, it didn't have that. This movie had no money. This movie had no fucking money behind it. This movie had no fucking money behind it. But anyway, the fight takes it where it's taken to the beach or the lake as Alice grabs a nearby machete and cuts Pamela's head off. We then jump to the police rolling up in the morning and with Alice in a boat. So, fun fact about Pamela's decapitation: the hands there are Testostaphoracus's. That's why they don't look anything like Betsy Palmer's. Anyway, it then cuts to cops coming up on the beach with Alice in a boat. Nothing could go wrong, except the infamous jump scare that everyone remembers, showing Ari Lehman covered in guck and mud and expert effects by some Vini jumping out to grab Alice. But the movie ends with her waking up in a hospital and asking the cops, "Was there anyone in the lake?" And the cop says no. With a kill count of about 10 and a runtime of about 90 minutes, this movie is very boring in between kills. Now onto my strengths. Strengths of the movie: Betsy Palmer, Ari Lehman, some of the camera work, Tom Savini's effects. Weaknesses: very boring, could be boring, a bit too long. Bland characters, and that whole snake bullshit. And now that I probably got my criticisms and opinions, I give the movie a 4. It's not that great, although luckily the sequels get much better. And I hope you enjoyed my killer look at the original Friday the 13th. We'll be doing part 2 a bit soon, and part 3 right after. But then I'm gonna take a break and do other movies, because I'm not doing this series for 12 days straight. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all next time. Bye bye. How long was I recording for?